What's up, guys? We're back with another Gundam Universe figure. We're going into Wave 2, taking a look at one of the more recent Gundam shows that I have actually watched and am familiar with. So today we're taking a look at the Gundam Unicorn 02 Banshee. We've got this guy here in the standard packaging for the line, the white with navy blue motif to play off the colors from the Gundam. And then you've got some fantastic artwork of it down there on the bottom, wraps around to the side. And then you've got more artwork, product shots, cross-sell on the back of the package. So let's do it. Let's pull him out and take a look.
And here he is out of the package, our Banshee from Gundam Unicorn. So this is an interesting figure for kind of a number of reasons, really. He shares a lot of parts with the actual Unicorn Gundam, which makes a lot of sense, they should. But he is just different from the rest because of what they did. He's not the standard mode of this particular Gundam. He has all of the extra stuff. So they gave him the big claw, they gave him the big beam saber, and he's more of a form over function figure to me. He moves around okay, but he is severely limited in ways that I'm sure you can understand just by looking at him. But he looks really cool, so it's kind of a double-edged sword. He looks really awesome, and what they did with some of these paint choices is really good, but he also has these clunky big arms to deal with. So let's see how he moves around to begin with. He is, again, kind of limited. So you've got a head that's on a ball peg, and the neck is also independently articulated, so it will move back and forth, so it can kind of get him to do an up and over kind of thing, and he can look up pretty decently. He does have some issues with like tilting his head because you've got to get over these ridges on the neck, but you can get him to do stuff like that. He's not going to go all the way around easily, though. The arms can swivel at the shoulders. Your left, his right, rather, is really, really normal. The right side over here, his left, your right, is so squeaky. It's beyond tight, and I just can't make it any looser than that. The shoulder pads are articulated, so they'll hinge. You've got a bicep swivel, and then he's got hinges at the elbow, both elbows. But he can really only do about this because he's got these massive, massive arms. There is no swivel below the elbow, so nothing down here moves, nothing hinges, none of that stuff, except for the claws on the claw arm here. So you can move these independently. There is a hand in here, which frankly is very difficult to mess with. It's hard to swap out because it does actually have a swapping hand. I swapped it out for the gripping hand, and I'm probably never going to put the fist back in because it is kind of a pain, and it can't really do anything once it's in there. It just sort of swivels around because it starts to hit the inside of the claw right away. It actually cannot move after that. So you've got some limitations there. The chest can swivel at it's kind of the mid-torso, so he goes around side to side. There is a little bit of tilt forward, not much back because he has a backpack and he's got the skirt piece, and then there's not a whole lot going on side to side. Legs go out about that far. They kick forward pretty decently, and they also kick back. You do have the skirt pieces here that are kind of a ball and socket, and they will move to accommodate the legs pretty well. You can swivel at the thigh. He's got knees that only go back that far because of, they can't really do a whole lot with this. It's the design of this suit. He's got the crazy monster knee pads and then the crazy shin guards on the back, or calf guards rather. So you've got these back here, and they just, they get in the way. There's really not much more you can do with that. It's just what it is. It's the design. There is no boot cut or anything like that, but you do have rotation at the ankle, although the kind of stirrups down here will get in the way. They are articulated as well. They articulate on the inside of the leg, and they will kind of hinge up and down, back and forth to kind of help you hide some of the inner workings. There is rocker in there as well, and then you've also got hinges. So the hinge on the back goes back really far. It doesn't go forward because, of course, you've got these big front armor pieces there. So he is mobile. He's a mobile suit, but he's also got backpack dropping action. Well, at least mine does. And he's just really limited. My only real gripes are the arms. They're just hard to really work with. Everything else is stuff that I'm familiar with from the Unicorn suit. So that's not really anything crazy. I knew how to work around that. But these are different. They're very different to mess with, and they're just kind of cumbersome. So again, it's a form over function. They look really cool, but they're not the easiest to position. Now, keeping in line with that kind of form over function thing, as far as the way this figure looks, I'm pretty happy with it. Granted, it does hinder his articulation because of how over the top and gaudy this thing really is. It's kind of a goofy design, especially when it comes down to this monster claw, the beam cannon, these ridiculous knees on this thing. Even on the regular Unicorn figure, they were kind of crazy, and they definitely get in the way. But the design of this suit, I think it works. I prefer this color scheme to the Unicorn as well, with the white and the kind of hot pink almost, this coppery brass color, and then some more, a little bit of gold inlay with this very, very dark blue, almost black color. I think it works really well. And I'm a fan of the Unicorn suit as far as design goes. So to have just a better color scheme, at least for me, I think it kind of amps up the design factor there. There is a few little differences here and there when it comes to this figure that are different. Like the cockpit area is a little bit different. The V on this particular figure is ridiculously over the top and very much different from the Unicorn. Just some general facial features are a little bit different as well, but it's still kind of a standard Gundam head sculpt up there. He's got a black backpack that you saw fall off earlier, and it's mostly just because I've been knocking it off with hitting it at the bottom. Otherwise, it stays on just fine. It's got more of that coppery color on the inlay, and then it's just got a crazy design. I really like it. It does, again, though, it does get in the way, but at the same time, if you've got him posed right, he really looks fine. So again, form over function. The big monster beam cannon, I think, is a cool idea. I like the idea behind this, but, you know, again, it just kind of gets in the way. And then you've got the big claw over here, which does articulate, is really cool, but again, gets in the way. But it's a cool idea, and it looks menacing, and this thing looks really imposing as far as a Gundam figure goes. He does have some removable parts as far as beam saber hilts go. There are two on the backpack that you pop on. You see these up here. They are a little articulated. They do move around a little bit. And then just like the Unicorn Gundam, there are two on the inside of his wrist. So there's one over here, and then there's also one over here. So he has 4 removable beam saber hilts and only one fist to use them with, but he's armed to the teeth no matter what. And I do think he looks exceptionally well made. The sculpt on him is fantastic. All the lines are clean and crisp, and the paintwork, those inlay metallic colors, are just fantastic. That's easily one of the highlights for this figure for me, outside of the fact that he has 2 monstrous weapons for arms. Now, as far as accessories goes, this guy's kind of weird because I'm not really sure what the thinking was behind some of this. I understand it, but at the same time, it doesn't exactly work. So you've got the extra beam saber hilts that I talked about. Those come in the package. You have to put them on. You also have to put the backpack on as well, the boosters. So you've got those two. You've also got these two beam saber hilts here as well. We do have a swappable hand. I mentioned that previously. So here's the fist that he comes with in the package. He comes with the gripping hand that you have to swap out. And again, it is kind of difficult. I really don't see the need to ever swap it out because it really makes no difference to me, really. He does have the adapter for a Tamashii stage for Gundam stuff, which I don't have. And then we've got 2 actual beams. I'm assuming this is because the Unicorn Gundam comes with 2 as well, and there's a lot of similar stuff in this pack out, so he's got 2, but he can't hold 2. He can only hold 1 at a time. So you've got 2 beams across 4 different hilts, which is just weird. It's fine. I mean, these are good. They're painted. They're not translucent or anything like that, just like the rest of the stuff in this line. So they're hot pink, and they work really well. You can pop one in his hand. It is kind of wonky to pose a beam saber in this particular hand, but again, he can only have 1. So I guess if you break one or if you lose one, you've got an extra. So yeah, overall, this really does, and I'm going to say it again, come down to a form over function kind of thing, because he is kind of difficult to pose. And it really just comes down to the fact that they chose to give him this particular loadout of accessories, of parts, this particular version of this suit. He doesn't always look this way. So they did something a little bit different with this figure. I think it works from an aesthetic standpoint, but it is difficult to actually pose this guy, especially when it comes to using the beam saber, because it has to kind of jut through the claw and get out of there and get some airspace. And it's just difficult to mess around with those angles. Otherwise, he does look really cool. He has all the same articulation that the Unicorn has outside of the arms, so there's nothing new or nothing crazy, nothing really missing there, but the arms, the cannon, the claw do introduce maybe a little bit of a learning curve with this guy, but at the same time, he does look really cool on the shelf with your other Gundams. So that's going to do it for this look at the Bandai Tamashii Nation's Gundam Universe Banshee. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.